Stick Drifters. This is Noah here, and I'm coming at you with another crash course. So, this one, it's going to be a bit heavier than most, I think. I want to kind of lay a sort of foundation for just sort of talking about kind of part of my, I guess, philosophy and viewpoint on the sort of escapism part of games and like what games mean to me. And to do that, I kind of got to go into a bit more of a sort of a personal discussion. And so I've decided to kind of just briefly go over some, I guess, past experiences I've had surrounding the gaming space and sort of just talk about some themes in games that kind of are aligned with that as well. And then just kind of, just kind of get a bit deep into it. And I think this sort of discussion is going to help a lot in understanding, like I've said, just what parts of games I really enjoy and what I see in games past like this superficial sort of gameplay and graphics and things like that. Like there's always something deeper that can be found in games, and it's sort of the personal connection that you can feel with the developers of a game. If you try to just dig deeper into a game. And so I just want to sort of set the stage for that sort of discussion in the future. And I think that Power would definitely agree that I think a lot of times people just see games from this superficial point of view as just an escapist, sort of toy. But I think that games can be a lot more than that. I think games are art, and they should be evaluated as such beyond just the sort of just initial impact that a game can have on you. Like really digging down into why a game was created, the surrounding development of a game. And so so I just kind of want to take this crash course to kind of get the ball rolling on those sort of deeper discussions around games that we might want to have in the future. And so I'm just going to kind of be a bit open here, be a bit, I guess, vulnerable, so that it's easier to understand where I'm coming from, at least on a lot of my viewpoints on games. So, I think that here at Stick Drift, we are just wanting to push that envelope of how games can be used for the betterment of people and the just like the betterment of the industry in general and anyone in the industry and anyone enjoying these games. I think that games are a fantastic tool in shaping our world around us to be a better place. And so, So today, this topic is going to be, I haven't been able to come up with a better topic name, so I've just gone with turning a lie into truth. So, it's something that a lot of people start out, as hobbyists and as having like a mild interest in things, and for me, that's how I've kind of been with a lot of hobbies that I've picked up and started. And then you see what other people are doing in a hobby, and you think, wow, I'm, not nearly that great. I'm not nearly that well written, well spoken, well read. I am not doing the things that other people are seemingly able to do with ease, and you just develop this sort of imposter syndrome. Is the term that people will use for that, and I get that a lot in any hobby that I have. I've just been sort of feeling it a lot in sort of starting this podcast endeavor, and it's not even just like the my own writing abilities or how versed I am in games or things like that. It's even just like the technology side of things. Am I good enough at editing these things and recording these things and getting this quality of these things right? And so and with something like that, you really do just need to give yourself time, and you need to let yourself make mistakes. I think that's the number one thing with something like that, is to let yourself make mistakes. But you still need to you do need to believe in yourself. You need to tell yourself that your work is good, and that what you're doing is the right thing, because otherwise you're just not going to get anywhere. You're not going to improve at your hobby. You're not going to you're just going to be stuck if you can't let yourself be vulnerable, be bad at something. You have to do that to move forward, to move on. And for someone like me, I've always just been sort of the, I guess, critic of myself, and perfectionist and things like that. And so and making mistakes is hard for me personally. But if you can't do that, then you're just going to be stuck in a vicious cycle and never get anywhere, and never really be able to develop that passion for your hobby. So I guess I'll just start out with a little bit of anecdote from my past. So when I was probably a preteen, I would play a lot of like flash games and things like that, and one of them was this sort of multiplayer. Well, not really multiplayer. It was a single player flash game, but it had I guess network connectivity that involved sort of trading these things that had a sort of monetary value, I guess. It was a really cheap, like, knockoff game, flash game, and so it's not the type of thing you wanted to put money into, certainly. And so I just kind of sort of decided to figure out how to bypass the sort of monetary restrictions. I mean, back then I didn't have money anyways, so I wouldn't have been able to put money into it even if I wanted to. But so I learned how to use exploits for the game, and it when I did that, it was sort of through quite a bit of digging that I was able to find the exploit in the first place. So I thought, oh well, what if I started sharing this thing? And so I started sharing that exploit, and I I just kind of sort of it became known as my exploit, even though I had found it elsewhere. And so I didn't really know how to handle that, being a kid and all. And so I just decided to live out that lie. And but I didn't just rest on that one thing. I took that and I started reverse engineering it and sort of learning what made that tick. And that let me learn how to create my own sort of exploits for the game. And eventually I was at a point where I was just creating things. And, it's not the most glamorous or well-respected hobby, certainly, but it felt good to take something that was a lie and to sort of transform that into something that I could actually do confidently. And it even got to a point where I had like a whole I had a whole forum of people. I was back in the old days of the internet, so everything was on forums and chat rooms, and so had my own forum, had my own chat room, and I had a whole team developing exploits on this thing. But that anecdote is all to say that you can start a hobby as a lie. You can start it as something that you're not good at and you don't understand. But if you apply yourself, if you really want to become better, you will apply yourself, and eventually you'll be able to really become a better version of who you are by just sort of not letting yourself rest on that falsity, and not letting yourself be beaten down when you think you can't. So I want to kind of talk about some games to kind of tie this into the gaming space. And one game that came to mind was the RPG Maker game Off. Without, I guess, a little bit of spoilers here on like the main crux of the game. So I would definitely recommend playing this game blind if you can. It's pretty dear game to me. But basically there's this being that is guiding you throughout the game and having you do tasks for it. And then towards the end you realize that all along you were actually the villain, your character. And so for the final sort of act, you the being that was guiding you kind of has to put a stop to you. So it's kind of an interesting scenario, and how games can just like, I guess, subvert your expectations of how these things are supposed to go. Like, your actions might not always be the greatest thing or the most heroic thing. That's kind of a good parallel for life. Not everything is black and white in life. Everything is sort of gray, and your actions are kind of just, I guess, the best skill I have is just doing what you can to make the best impact on the world. I think that's how you can scale your actions. Undertale's kind of like this too, where you just this random sort of kid that is put into this position that you can either save a whole civilization or destroy it. And these sort of games that have choices like this, that you can do the right thing, you can become better. There's a lot of JRPGs that are like that as well, like Lunar and Grandia, where you're just this small sort of person and you just grow throughout the game to become this sort of better version of yourself. And even like something like Final Fantasy VII is really great with this, how Cloud is just struggling with his past as a soldier and then his present as trying to stop Shinra. It's a really interesting dichotomy there. But, I mean, these anecdotes is really just me kind of trying to, I guess, throw out there that really I think the best thing someone can do is just find like a code of conduct to live by. You know, just do what you can to become the best version of you, even if that means you need to, you know, trick yourself into believing that, you know, you're bigger than you are or you're better than you are, because if you can just live that out, I really do think that you can become a better version of yourself and you can do the things that you really want to do in your life. I think that another way that you can spin this is that if you've made a lot of mistakes in your life and you feel, you know, just remorse for that, just genuine remorse, and you want, you know, to make things right, I think that living in that that genuine remorse and trying to better yourself and better the world around you, I think that's the best way to make up for those mistakes. Yeah, and there's a lot of other sort of game series that embody this sort of philosophy of turning a lie into truth, like Lies of P. I mean, that's the whole point of it, is that you know, Pinocchio is trying to, you know, sort of save this world, and he's also just trying to become more and more, you know, human. He's a automaton that, you know, wants to be human, it seems, and so through lying, you know, that is giving him a more, you know, human perspective on what it means, you know, to be human. Majora's Mask is like this, and I'm probably going to talk about this again in my next crash course from a different perspective, but from the perspective of this one, the moon is falling constantly in Majora's Mask, and for a lot of the time, you'll talk to these citizens, and the first and sometimes second day of the cycle, they'll be like, oh, it's fine, nothing's wrong, nothing bad is happening to our world, and they just sort of convince themselves that things will be okay. But even by the third day, I mean, a lot of people have given up hope, but there's still some NPCs there that still do believe that things will get better. It and sometimes it's just okay to sort of tell yourself that things will get better, and especially in a situation that is really just you can't do much about it. Then you just sort of have to keep going, and you have to keep living your life and not give up. That's the one thing you can't do, just give up. Persona's a lot like this, with the whole the whole series is just about putting on your best face, your your psychological persona, your mask for the world. I think that in my life, I've put on a lot of personas, a lot of masks, and that's helped me get through a lot of things, a lot of situations that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get through. And so I think it's important to be able to let yourself put on personas for different situations so you can brave those situations with your best face. Because revealing your sort of your inner self to the wrong groups is just setting yourself up for all sorts of bad experiences. I've definitely dealt with that in the past, and it's important to have people you can be real with in your life, but it's also important to know when to put on those personas to protect yourself. So, yeah, and I think that, if you align yourself with people who believe in you, people who can help you get to where you want to be, people who share passions with you, people who share hobbies with you, I think that, even if you do sometimes need to lie to yourself or to, bring yourself up a bit, stroke your own ego a bit, just to get by, I mean, that's okay. Because once you start that track of improving yourself, you will improve. You will get better and become a better version of yourself if you just keep striving for that improvement. For myself, I mean, in sort of the gaming spheres, for a long time, I've done a lot of challenge runs in games, specifically the Dark Souls games. I've done a lot of sort of challenge runs, and those have kind of helped me to give myself a sense of pride, accomplishment, a sense of being okay with losing, being okay with mistakes, being okay with being wrong. Because we can be wrong, we can make mistakes, and we can learn from those too. And I think that is a big theme in just Soul series in general is that there are a lot of mistakes to be made, but those mistakes make you better. And as long as you can learn from them, as long as you're there to learn from them, and as long as you can keep going, then things can get better for you. So yeah, I mean, currently I've been doing a lot of work trying to get better with this sort of podcasting stuff, trying to get better with sort of just keeping conversation flow, getting better with the tech side of things, getting better with writing. As for gaming, I mean, I've been trying to get better at Project Diva series, because that's just a long time rhythm game series that I've really enjoyed, but it just takes a lot of work to get where I want to be in terms of skill for those games. And same thing, I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals lately, because just trying to kind of get better with shooters in general, but especially hero shooters. I don't have a history of being good at shooters or hero shooters at all, and so I've just been really pushing myself to become better at them so that I can I just have a bit more confidence in that gaming space, because I've been enjoying those sort of gaming spaces, both rhythm games and hero shooters, but I just don't have quite the skill level that I see, others having, and so I just get that sort of imposter syndrome. But you can't let yourself be brought down by your lowest points. You need to bring yourself up to your highest performances, your highest points. Let those be what you dwell on, and where you strive to consistently be. If you let your low points drag you down, then you'll just be stuck at those low points. And that goes for any sort of pursuit in life, any hobby. But yeah, I think I'm going to end this here. It was kind of a deeper, I guess more somber conversation than most of these crash courses, but I really just wanted to talk about this before I can talk about sort of my next topic I have in mind, of just the sort of spaces in gaming that really make me feel comfortable, make me feel secure and safe. And so that's why I did this sort of more personal look into a bit of my psyche and philosophy on these things. So yeah, hope this was enjoyable. Not too dull, but yeah, thanks for listening.